Nisambula vinaka talo falava whakarovala ia tu maru le leita lohani, and a massive kia ora to you. Thank you so much for tuning in and joining us on the Pacific Health Talanoa with Lorenzo on BLU TV. I have a very, very special guest with me on the show today. With Auckland remaining in level 3, it is important to talk about psychological health and holistic health, because right now, we are in day 55 or 56 of the lockdown. It is the longest lockdown in Aotearoa since COVID-19 entered New Zealand. Welcome on the show, Ami Pepe. Fatalo vatu la sunga de nei auli, Ami.
Me nisa vinaka makalevu pula vinaka. Lorenzo Faftai Molanea Vanoa. So grateful to be here again with our program. Faftai Molanea Vanoa. Mfaivo na moa awafo nisi fapopong awala tatu poklame na nea fiaf. Faftai.
Fapena foi na momole tulenga ngol Faftai le tatu poklame ila sunga ami manatu olo tele na foi ia tu tono a ia le ngata ilea o tiu tero fenga ia wa fa no mai level o taimi talu hai. O le nei taimi o le tu maui peo au kilani i le vaenga tolu o sama pa vao le wha mai COVID-19 iwa. O manatu le tato por kalami. Ese le tahu o le tu langa lea o le toe tepa i tua i le soifua maloloina. Ai maise lava le soifua maloloina le mafaufau. Le anga ua to o tele i la tau ua amata o na awhia le mafaufau. Talu ai ona o le tau mia ia ele ngata i lea o le no nofo i peito tono o whale. Ua le mawhai o na toe whai le tele o oanga ia manga luenga ele ngata i lea o wha moe sa masa nia i peta ila. O le tāua le o le wha soa mai fo i le sunga ia ami i le nia wa uli. Se i tatu toe tāpena pena. Ami, o mata upu ia o tapena ina le tatu por kalami le asura nei. E fia fesiringia i fo i le sunga. E le toe wha ilo ina i le sunga ia ami lungo le tatu por kalami. O le tātou malo whalorangia lava lea mo le tai lua vai aso. Tātou te Talanoa i mata upu tau le soifua maloloina petai. O le aso le nei, o le Talanoa i le holistic health. Po le soifua maloloina i yona vaenga ese. Ami, tātou umo mo le tino le tangata. I le tangata soifua. Na fausia i le whātusa lo tātou atua. E mawhai ona e whaasoa mai i le tūlanga lea i le tatau ona va aile lei ma o le tiuta o le tangata e va aile lei o lona tino i le tūlanga le soifua maloloina anu.
Faftai Lorenzo mo le visiti a tono o le tūlanga pe ata to ono le utata o lo e ta wole fasili le tulanga fala le pe ona ta o tono tus o tato umo tangata kirisiano tato te tantonu le tuoma tulanga pina. So the question, if God created us man to be in his own image, so therefore our bodies are very important. Our body is the gift of God, as it says in the Bible. Our body, it's also the temple of God. So therefore we need to look after this body here, because if we defile this body here, if we damage this body here, whatever that we do with the body, that means this is the property of God, and that's how I see it. Because if God created us in his own image, so therefore we are the gift of God. The body was given to us from God. And also we need to remember, we need to connect with who we are in all times. So it's very important that we have to understand that this is the body of God, then we need to look after this. Because if we don't look after this, how much is that connection between us and God? If you think about it, even with the creation of everything, he created almost everything. He created the land, he created the day and the night, he created the animals, the fowls and the birds and everything, the grass and the plants and the trees. The last thing he created was the man. Why? The question is always, why did he create it? Why not the man first and everything? Because everything else has to do with the man. Because we have to rely on the trees and the birds and the meat and everything.
The resources,
the resources for us to live. And that's why the body is so important. That means you have a big connection with the God and the creation of everything.
O le sa eta o le tūlanga lea o le damage po o le whata ma ia lea o le tino o le tangata. E mwhai ona au mai ma e tu ina mai ni whata inga o le vaenga lea wa le sa e sau noa o le telo le damage le wa whai le tangata ilo na tino ma o le vai le tangata na ia lava ia. Whai ona e wha la ui tele tūlanga lea ina i tatala i ta whata noanga nea ori.
Ele ngata le damage le I mea tātou te whaila, but also in the internal system. What's going on within, it's a lot of damage. E pe o le mai te ita matulanga pena, e pe o le fasi, pe o le tawa e misa matulanga pena. So there's a lot of depression and stress that's going on within our system. So that's a lot of damage there. O le pe o le tulanga la, ne o te lele, I le vaenga le ta o le mental health matulanga. You and I understand mental health comes in so many different levels. El company course mental health for a few days. And I said to them, mental health is not part of me. No, everyone relates to mental health. So when I went to do the course for those few days, that's when I realized, oh, yes. So what's going on within your system, what's going on within your body, that's a lot of damage. So if we defile this person, we defile the body, that means we disconnect ourselves from everything, from God, the creation of everything.
What about mental health? Because all the time you love effetto ai ia lo mafau marutangata, malefa'afitauli, and it becomes a problem. That's mental health. O le taimi lava e te lua misa I maluto lua, po le taimi e te ita I lau whanau, po le taimi e awhia lau mawhau malu nganga malu loto, e se tūlanga fo I lea o le olanga o se whonga nei. That's mental health.
That's right.
Stress is part of mental health, but because tātou tangata Samoa, we have, made it become a norm, arguments, disagreements, or stress, depression has become a norm. We don't see it as a problem, but we see it as a norm. O le tūlanga lava without even reaching out, le uso le waita, ina ia whape, na una whaisi whalinga, sit him down and really have a deep conversation and open Talanoa about why he feels that way. Ta se e mai I le tūlanga lea o tau mawha. Lea ngai ei lava le talutonu o le tātou porkalame, ma ele o se mata upu fōu I le tātou watunu.
Okay.
Food, diet, unhealthy eating, does a lot of damage to our bodies and our health. And from your own perspective as a motivational speaker.
Because our self-awareness, we are not aware Again, if you don't have that connection with yourself, if you don't know much about who you are and what you're putting into yourself, and then you ended up having no control of what you eat every day. Moment. Faya le atatu te malam o me aya le mawale ele ole lei matulanga pina ono me ayo le ele le tatu falong ele te mile tatu te ai. But in terms of health, ele o mawale so for malolo ina lei. You got to remember, when we were born, for us to come up to this level for this body, it's all got to do with food. It's food that we eat that make us grow from baby to up to this very moment. So this whole body, it's all the accumulation of food that we eat every day. So this material, it's all got to do with food. Lono wingala ole tino le tangata ele pepelo. Moma. E te loa tu lava le tino le tangata le tuenga mea ai, ma le tuenga soifo malaloina, ma le tuenga ngā yoi, o lai ngā yoi, e lono inga. E mawhai ana tātou whapea, mai a tātou whamatalanga, oe, momo e le aso toa momo e, ai le tino, oi nai mo mawai le tuenga tangata, o nai ele e le whapera o whai atu whalea ngā ina le soifo malaloina, ma le whina o tātou tangata. But food is very important. So how much do you know yourself? So the moment that you connect with yourself, the moment that you know who you are, the moment that you feel good about who you are and discover who you are, that's the moment that when you start thinking about what you put into yourself. That's the moment you say to yourself, man, I need to eat the right food. We don't know how long we're going to be here on this planet. Most of the people, we think that we're going to be here for the next 1,000 years. No, we don't. No one reach, a lot of people don't reach 100 years. So it's very important for us to look after ourselves at this time. To me personally, in my education, in my training and my study, ole tangata ole fina malosi mo le sefo malaloina ole tangata lawana iloa e yaile ochi tangata. That's the only person that's fighting so much to become the person he or she wants to become in terms of health, because he or she understands there is death in life. He thinks that everyone else dies, but not him. Does that make sense?
It makes sense. And I totally agree with what you said about there's a lack of awareness. But for me to be, to be honest, I am looking from outside, looking in. I think we are aware. And I think we know what's good and what's bad for our health and especially our bodies, when it comes to healthy eating and dieting. But I think we totally ignore, the advice, and that we are in denial. Including myself included. Tātou te iloa le diet te tau ona whai. Tātou te iloa exercise te tau ona whai. But we ignore le whautuanga. Ole winga whai la no tana. Ia, tātou whaapea ne lava tātou ia. Ia, atonu ole saonga leo le soifuanga pitai. Ole telo tātou tangata. Ua whatutua na I whautuanga ia ele ngata I lea o onga. Including yourself, as a motivational speaker, because in real life, you can't even tell so it's good to what do you call it, to get an advice from someone who walks the talk, a walker and a talker. Ta se e mai I le tūlanga le tāua o le malo lo le tino. Wha malo lo le mafufau. And I'm not talking about having a 4-hour sleep or 6-hour sleep or 7-hour sleep. E mawhai ona e walango le sāra amatam le Talanoa I le tino. Lewa o na ta se e mai la I le tūlanga lea o me ai. E mawhai ona e tamawhai e so o ta I le tāua o le lava o le malo longa. Ina ia so longa le leilo soifua maloloina.
Whaftai, o se vaenga tā ua tele leile. I think whenever I share some sort of experience, I always target the beginning of everything. The beginning of the creation of everything. God created 24 hours, but he created day and night. A whaila tātou te Talanoa ina le malolonga le soifo malolo ina tangata. E tāua te lelo tātou mamlama pe o le ale mena whaile pō. A le afo le mafua anga na whaile au. Ana whaapela na le au whaaso atu ole lono winga. O le ale aise malolo le tangata waile ilo le tangata pola te mila malolo. So we need to understand there is night and there is day. Also at the same time, e te le lava le whaino le tangata pe ale lavalo na malolo. Le ta'ua ta fatigue, le upufanga so e tangata, le fasamol fatigue. Fatigue, it's the most common enemy within people. Ale lava le malolo, e te langona lo le fia, e te langona lo mai taita matulanga pena. And I've seen those people. And I'm talking about myself too. Okay, longo fia le lava la malolo o mai kaika o makelkele makulanga penga, ona olea. O le lava le malolo. E pay for le telefoni, omi le telefoni, and we see the battery is flat. What do we need to do? We need to charge the battery. We cannot keep on working with the phone with the flat battery or the battery is off. Same thing with the car. You cannot keep on driving the car and the battery is flat. So same as our body. If you're listening, if you're watching this, same as our body, we need to recharge that body all the time. So 7, 8, 9, 10 hours sleep a night, or even the day if you work night shift, it's good enough for you. Not 4 hours sleep, not 3 hours sleep. I'll tell you, I've been there myself. The time before, and I've seen a lot of stress and a lot of complaints coming out. It's just because not enough sleep. Ya le fai fole to lu, fai fole to metiti, fai fole next door. Ya le lava le mo.
Na ia te le tūlanga le we tā ua ami a. E alu no ma fau I na yuso fo I man mamalo le tātou atu no u le whainga luenga pō. They work night shift from 6 in the evening until 6 in the morning. Ona manava mai lea. Ona o maila I le whale o te pena whanau I le aonga, Whato ato yo o mai lava le tangata lea I le whale le tūla e iwa sauro whaisina moe. From 9 to maybe 1 or 2 o'clock, there's only 4 hours a day. E mālolo ai ona toi adfo ila I e piki tamiti aonga. By the time toi ngale toi sauro I le whale, it's 4 o'clock. Sauro ta tope le whaingo le take away e tamaiti. Ta tope, vai o mea I konga le kāpoki whai le mea ai, lau toi sa uni le tamapole tina ile I le ngaluenga. It is a cycle.
It is.
Without even realizing that we are also putting our kids through a cycle. We're not breaking the cycle. We're not breaking through the cycle. Ona whiola mai fo ila ia masoi fu me tātou whanau. Ua whainga tahai ona whaingale, ona so suffer and demolish that cycle down. E te whanua ina le tūranga.
Mana e te le vanga, o le mele le tupuam. Let me go back to when we first arrived in New Zealand. My parents worked 24/7. Awe whainga runga tu iti ale mo al whale matulanga pena. E o mai e usul va veao se o tamai le va veao le malugu. E sa o lewa le fiafi. And I've seen that. You talk about the cycle. And I remember one early morning, and I got up. And then he said to me, that's what you call breaking the cycle. If I didn't break that cycle, guess what? I'll be still doing the same thing my mom and dad were doing. That means my kids will follow me. So somewhere we have to break that cycle. If we don't break that cycle now, our kids will do the same thing. So on a commitment there, I may say, ole mea lai tupu le tangata lea, ole tino mal mahofau, wa masani. Well, our body and our mind is now conditioned. We only have 4 hours sleep. But to me personally, on our 4 hours sleep, la wa masani ale tino. Do you remember a time when he said alarm? Aile ola la alarm. Aite yawa eke ilu. You get up at the same time the alarm's supposed to go off, but the alarm didn't go off. You remember? those times. It's just because our body and our mind is conditioned to get up at the same time. But here's the problem. Kangakala yele o lavale mo 3 an hour sleep. Lela wa masani le termina. But in the future, so it will come later on. Few years later, that's when they realize, because I didn't have enough sleep 10, 15 years ago. It was still coming, but
Sir mana yol ba hanga le ta talalem ta upule a mi le tulanga la vale o le level malolonga. O le si va hanga o le tau e lo ma fau ya ila to e le lava I e le malolonga. O le tulanga le o le fa moe e le coffee. O le fa moe I energy drinks. Fo ingale ina ia fe soani e tau fa ala mata ma ia tau mau e le malo se fa wa winga luenga. And that also becomes a norm. Ona whaalango lava leo le tino ia I le kofe o le V drinks, you know, o le isi lava energy drinks. E te le whaalongo ina la le ngaluenga a whanguinu na whaitono lo tino. But later on, pe ona sau noa it will come and it will do a lot of damage to your body internally. E te le loa tui whafo atu tonu, o le nai ta vili ia mana tuo o fizzy drinks and energy drinks. Oh God, is one of the number one killer. E le tona nā ina ia le tā whataranoanga le hanga o isi o vaenga o loo whaatama ia tino, ma le soifua o lo tātou watunu. Wai mai se lawa whana witi, they get to introduced to soft drinks and fizzy drinks at a very young age. O na toi fiu foi la ia introduce ia le vai. Ai wa tangi mai lava le, how can I have some Coke? How can I have some Fanta? Ai o mana ia non fau tua mai an. Break the cycle now. We have to do it now. We have to act on it now.
We don't have to rely on our kids to do it because our kids take a snapshot of what we do. E tātou te fiu e whaatonu le tamatiti le mea te tauna whai. But if the kids see that we're doing it, guess what? They will do it. We don't have to teach the kids what to do. They will take a snapshot, they will take a photograph of what we do, and then they will do it. Tātou te fiua, se ka penga lau poku. E lisi tina whai mai whai lang kama. Hey, alo ka penga lau poku, whadi umar ka meki. Mom, ka penga mo lau poku. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. We try to teach our kids what to do, but if we're not doing it, guess what? The kids will never be able to do it. So it's very important for the parents to stand up and say, I'm going to change. I'm going to make these changes. I'm going to break the cycle because I want my kids to be different. If we don't break that cycle, guess what? We don't have to teach our kids those things. They will do it. Once we break the cycle, our kids will walk away and say, I'm going to do what my dad is doing. I'm going to be like my mom. Healthy, eat well, exercise, energy. Lorenzo, energy drink. I think that we need to look at the why energy drink at the beginning, why they created energy drink at the beginning. Because people were complaining about not enough energy within the body. So therefore, or Kangakala or Whailang Pisigisi came up with the idea, I need to come up with an idea of an energy drink. But in the long term, it will do a lot of damage for the body.
Ami mana ia tulanga le we taua. O le tauna lo mafau I matua, mom and dad. Ke mana ia tulanga le we taua. O mea umai whai e ta mama le tina. E muli ta I whanau. So in other words, mom and dad, you are the number one role model. Number one role model I lau whanau na yo walo. So o le makua te le lavo ngā luenga tātou tauna whai as parents. Ese le te leo tātou ngā luenga. Ai o le ase e tātou porkalame I le tūlanga lea o le personal hygiene. O le tāua lea, o le whaamua. Just put yourself first for a minute or even 10 minutes a day. Yourself first without anything else. Everything else comes last. Fai ona ta se ta fa tana nga le tulanga le o le personal hygiene fa mo le la fa ami. Fai ona sa no mai as a motivational speaker.
Yeah, personal hygiene. Look, I tell you what, it's one of those things. I like what it says in English. How you don't see the world as it is. You see the world as you are. What it really means, ale leo mafofonga, ale lele vaingolo chino, ale leo lava fai, ale leo fautuaina malele me te faia, I low lava personal hygiene. If I be na fo I lava ai isi tangata, maisi vaenga o le olanga leo lo manga. You feel good about anything if you can feel good about yourself. So when it comes to personal hygiene, I mean, think about it. Once you buy a new shirt or a new clothes and wear it, how do you feel at the time? Well, time me now ese o te whalongona wata mi mita matulanga pen ele o whaiatula te ale whaatau o fufou. But, you know, o leisi a tangata e boi moi ale o tuku atua alu shopping center male. You know, I'm just making, you know, some sort of, but all the time you have to look after it, the way you dress, the way you look after yourself inside and outside. Guess what? You'll always feel good about who you are. E iei stangata e musu whalele whaini ofu le leite o whapea mai kangaka. Ia fi whaadiaringa ofu para tali one. You cannot control what people say and what people think about you. You can only control what you think about yourself. So the more you lay my you know, come five the more exactly. The more you look after yourself, the more you feel good about anything that you come across. Because everything has to start from you. If you don't feel good about who you are, if you don't feel good about how you dress, guess what? Le lei le taimi wale mo ata tole le ofu le lei ofu manei mo le tina mo le tamama tulanga pena. It's the way you dress up every day.
Mana ia tulanga re ami whamon mone lava. O te whia pi iama tu lava le vaenga rea. A tonu o le tulanga fo lea ua e le tu ese ina sena minute I lou lava tangata e te, you know, to dress yourself up. Ua aunga tāna ma fau voi lea. A watu whatu tinga an. Ana whapeo se whi au voi le whatata inga o se ngaluenga le kale si, e wawe iai, e wawe e le commit. But when it comes to you, dressing yourself up, ua le ai se minute po se 2 minute, a uli whalele e show ofu, e maso e whalele show ofu, ina ia whaau le lei tangata le sa e ta ua mua ami that you and I were created in the image of God. And pray na ito e whaau le sa unga, mo le ama.
Ane tele tulanga le Lorenzo ai fo tu le taimi la Talanoa taimi le wa tai chai. And I'm telling you now, Lorenzo, and I'm sure people are watching this. Think about it. For myself, and I'm sure everyone can relate to this. When I had to pick up my girlfriend, which is now my wife, I had to iron my shirt. I have to make sure everything. I have to shower. I have to do almost anything to make me look good and to make me feel good and to make me sound and smell good. If you know what I mean, before I go out. Now, the problem is once we get married, we stopped. That's the problem. Why did we stop dressing up? See, the most successful couple in life, in my training and my own research, are the couple that they've been married so many years, but they still doing dating every week. They still dressing up like they were just married, or they just meet, or they just knew, you know, or the couple na le lei tulanga fa personal hygiene matulanga pena in terms of relationship le o lato o laitu maola tulangona mafata we na me masani le na fai I date. I mean I five people. If you know what I mean. So if you can go back and look at what you've done before when you were dating your wife, what did you do there? That's, you know, when you were dating your husband, what did you do there? Bring those back, bring those memories back and relive that life again. Guess what? You will go back and say, you look at your wife, you look at, you know, people will look at their husband and say, man, You remind me of 20 years ago when we first met. See, and that takes the whole thing to the next level. And that makes you feel good about who you are. And you look at your wife and say, man, you're the most beautiful woman I met, since I met you right from the start. It's just because when people get married after 2 years, after 5 years, we forget who we are in person. We forget what's a relationship between you and me. We forget about everything. We so much focus on many other things and we forget about us. And that's a personal hygiene that's very important to people.
Mana ia le masa upula we ta ua a mia le tulanga lea e lona fa ipo ia le tamama le tina. Ona ngalo a tola ia ole fa apolo kalameina ole fa nga wo mai le amatanga. You know that feeling of when you are dating a girl or you're dating a guy and you get a text, meet me here, let's have some dinner, let's have some lunch, and you get that feeling of, you look forward to going to meet your girlfriend or your boyfriend.
Right. Mm-hmm.
You need to hold on to that feeling even after you get married, because that's a lot of good. And that is showing value, you valuing your wife or you valuing your husband. Ana tulanga no ye an. Ua avea le tulanga fo ilea ua pe ua comfortable in a marriage. Ma pe ua le toe fai ai tulanga iana e ta ua le dating. Oa lau fa samoa ina o ta faonga fa paanga a le tama ma le teine. So, I mean, when I hear the word dating, it comes with cost. And I think that's another barrier. O leisi whawhitaulina i tono a ina Samoa. E ta ulole date whapela tau, o anga ma mea na palalangi. Ia a ofea meiranga se lau kāra po lo se lau e ave o i whana inga ia 8 Western po o ia fotuna a. Tai whakau se fua lo sta ma whakau se o fufou se vai murike ke e a. And for you na simply explain o le ale mea tono lava lea ta o le date. And how much it should cost, or should it even cost money?
Whaftai mana e Lorenzo le ona le we ta wale dating. Ale dating a tātou talanoa e whapalangi. E lo nuinga tātou talanoa le i tupe whapena. But to me, it's not a palangi way of doing things. Dating is any culture. Anyone can do dating. So instead of looking at dating, let's look at the dating le whasamoa. I le tātou tūranga. It doesn't cost you anything. I mean, whether it cost you $10, whether it cost you $100, you need to understand what is dating between you two. If you're dating, if you look at each other, it says, if you agree, hey, we're going to spend $100, hey, let's do it. If $100 is our dating, let's do it. How much time do we spend? If I go dating, even we can go to the fish and chips, get the fish and chips. We go date at the park. That's a dating. We can go buy the ice cream. We can go to the beach and sit down. That's dating. Dating, it doesn't have to do with food all the time. It's dating. To me personally, it's a quality time between you and your wife, between you and your husband, to sit down and have that quality conversation. Take yourself back 20 years ago. Take yourself back 50 years ago. Guess what? If you do that once a week at dating, or ke leo la whainga o le mawawhau, malangona o le tangata fia langona le lei, o le atu lai mai to tono lo ainga. Male soifo malaloina le, man, you're taking yourself, and then when your kids see that my mom and dad's going out for a night, they're dating tonight, they're dating next week, your kids will grow up and having that education in their mind that dating is very important between a husband and a wife.
Ava fair ia na yunga li ia whana ia waman tua tau lo le date pe ingo le boyfriend ma le girlfriend ia po le wife and husband. Ava fair ia ma tau ia whana ia that's another barrier whamun mole.
You got to remember dating. That means when you focus on other problems outside of dating, that means dating le fine. Ring up your brother, ring up your sister, ring up your parents, ring up families and say, can you please look after my kids tonight for a couple of hours, please? To look after your kids for a couple of hours, and then you go out with your wife, you go out with your husband. That's it. Try not to focus on the problem. I always tell people, don't focus on the problem. If you want to go out dating, then focus on dating. The minute that you focus on on dating, and then the problem will be solved. But the minute that we focus on the problems, and then dating will never be solved.
There you go. You heard it from the man himself, Ami Harvey. You'll vote to
Steve Harvey.
Really good advice for our Samoan couples, to be very, very honest. And it's really important to have some time for yourself, for you and the husband or the wife. Really important, because o le cycle lewa ia vai ngota maiti tamalo e whenga luenga, but lewa o whaaso mai le sunga ia ami. There's nothing wrong with getting your sister or your brother or your your in-laws to babysit your kids for you, and the husband and and a wife have some time together, even just for an hour or 2 hours. But that's important. Oh man, you are ready to go again for another month, or for another year. We're going to recharge the intimate love.
You feel young again. I'm telling you now, you feel young again. Once you take your wife, I encourage couples. I encourage couples in relationship. Take your wife, take your husband out once a week for a date. And that gives you that time, that quality time to have a chat, to have a talk, and have a good laugh. Guess what? And then you feel young again. Not only feel young, but also you feel good about who you are and your relationship, and your kids will see that. Once your kids will see that, man, I don't think I will find a husband like my dad. And I said, what's the problem? And she said, well, my dad fussy, so that's the example that we bringing out down to our kids, isn't it? So if me as a husband, I've got a daughter, if me as a husband want my daughter to marry a good man, I have to set the example. I have to be a good man. I have to be that man, if you know what I mean. And I take my girl out with me. I said, let's go for a date. It's my daughter, so that she can see what kind of man that she has to look for. And it's very emotional. It's a good time for me and my daughter to go out, have a good laugh, and have a good, I have a son. Sometimes he goes out with my wife. It's a good time. People say it's a palangi way of doing things, but no, it's not. It's how you see it's important in your family. And I'm telling you now, it's the best time ever when I go out with my daughter and she says, man, Dad, she tells me almost everything. And that's tulanga na eseleman na ia I te tono sa ainga pe a fai sa ainga se me va pena ai me se tatou sa mo matulanga pena. The minute that you take out your wife for dating, guess what? You feel young again. You feel good again. It will take you back when you first, dating your wife.
Mana tele, health is the number one asset in life. Ola ang naman fa mo tato fa Talanoa ni Yeso. Ya malisunga ya ami Pepe o tato malu fa lolongia. Tato Pacific Health Talanoa every 2 weeks, every fortnight. Ya e mawa I lava no le sunga ya ami. E fe so nei fo le manu tato wa tunu o lo fa pena o na fe ngai mari telo fa pitau le soi po malo lo ina le tino o le mafau ia matotono le loto ia o tatau fo no ia sa ile linga ia male so ninga ale sunga ia ami Pepe ia manuia tele nei fa ami after I tele lama mo lo sao ile tato por kalame.
After tele Lorenzo mo le no le nei fa tai fo I mol por kalame a mese fo mai mo mai malo tato tu ia manuia tele fo fanga le nei vas soi fo.
Soi fo ia ole ava vai le foi ta sina tato musika to foi mo tato por kalame ia ona tato Talanoa inisi o fufuanga ia e o tele o dry flu vaccination e tau ona fo se le fia le tato o tunu pe mai el tato malolonga lea. Welcome back to this last part of the Pacific Health Talanoa with Lorenzo Kaisara on BLU TV. Ole we set mo di tatu taimi to se fulu lua minu te ona tale ole tu la e fa ile nei ya solua ole aso se fulu lua o ke topa lua fe lua se fumaltasi e to fa talo fa to fo ila ilo tatu watu no ia ile nei ya so manatu o lo so longa le lei ia fo fonga ile ngata ile o tiute ma faiva o lo fe ngai ilo tatu watu no ile ngata au kila nei ia ai so se tafole nei ke lope mai se lava ia tatou nei man we are still in level 3 level 3 ia sa fo ima bavau ko vitis fuluiva o facility o mai oi how are you now like seriously o mai oi de nei vai tau lenga as day 55 ole so lona lima se fulma le lima le nei o lea ole a lua masina ole tatou lockdown tele lava fianga ia o mafau ia ele ngata ile ole soifua malolo ina ele to telo o le mamano le tatou watu no anyways o se tala lata mai le ko vitis furuiva e pe fu ona tu ina mai ele mtanga luengo le soifua malolo ina ile so e fa se fulu tolu ina to o fa maunia mauai ile fa mai ko viti ia fa se fulu mai au kilani ma le to tolu mai voi kato fa se fulu mai au kilani ma le to tolu mai voi kato taimile nei to tolu se fulu fa ila to lo fa ta to lia to tono ma tanga singa po fa le mai there's 34 people in hospital 5 in ICU or HDU ia po le vainga fo ilo po tu tinga ina mana o mia lava tong fitinga ia ali matama tai fo mai foi ai e sera mana yo tu langa lo tatu ia leanga o le aso na nei this Saturday is called the Super Saturday for Vaccination io o le sto na o le nei vai aso o lo fa ta wai nai le fai le o le pui o ko vitis fu vai nei pui ai pui ai au pui ai lo tato community ato so we start from Otara. There is a Know Your Vaccine Otara community vaccination drive-through on Thursday, let's the 14th of October, and Friday, the 15th of October, 2021, open from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, number 75, Ferguson Road in Otara. All of those of our community, 12 years and over, are invited to come and get vaccinated. Vaccine buses and super shuttles provided too. For all inquiries, please email knoyourvaccine@onac.org.nz. Awani ngalu bota tohu mai Otara. Fai lava lo pui o le aso tofi ma le aso wharaido le vai aso le nei I nai le kalesia mamona wharasalang o lo ilunga I Ferguson Road o le a fai le wha moe drive through without having to book an appointment. So no bookings required, no passport required, no ID required. You just have to give your name and date of birth. Ia ile o whainga luenga pe tau nu atu ile tātou wha moe le nā. Le stofi nei ma le aso whareile ile kalesia mamona the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in Ferguson Road. O le tātou wha moe lona lua, it is the Samoa Vaccination Community Action Initiative. Manurewa Netball Court, numero 5 Browns Road, Manurewa, ile aso whareile, aso se 5 o ki topa ma le aso to na I se 10 o ki topa, ka tala ile tūla e iwa sa ia pa, ia lava le tūla e 5. Pa mole whai o pui, let's all get vaccinated. O le nei wha moe, o lo tau la mua se sunga I whawhengainga mo la tu wha le tua le ngata ilia, o le to telo ta mali I mata I tae o tātou watu no. O le stangata o le tau la mua I wha moe lea, o le sunga ia tuala tanga loa tu sani, mantuo o tuala lea sa maua, fear, he was infected with COVID-19 with the virus. Lea la, ua sau I tua ia sunga, o te mai tu le sunga ia tuala. He knows that COVID-19 is real. Leala o taula mo fa moe because he wants everyone, especially our Samoan people, our Samoan community to get vaccinated so you can be protected from the virus. Oni ngano manurewa ni po coach ila sa Friday malas to nai te tala leiva se o lava ile 5 ile afiafi. O le sila tato fa moe o le drive-through vaccination manatua le wa uma o tara tato I manurewa. Tato wa ngai mololai I Otahu, aka the border between South Auckland and Auckland Central. you know, it's a very lucky o go ta hu. Wai, o le mele yai. Makwa I unsure po pe Auckland Central pe South Auckland o ta hu. But anyways, o ta hu le bora. Ioi, o le tua oile na o le Central ma South Auckland. O ta hu vaccination station on Thursday, the 14th of October 2021, open 8:30 to 5:30 o Tahuhu bus depot, King Street car park o Tahuhu. Mana tua ia le bus stop tua ia o Tahuhu le sai ai. Whafsanga I tonu lava ma le TAB ma le McDonald. O ina tonu lava leo la awhai le tatu wha moe moe lea. A whaila e te alare o Tahuhu ia po I o ne hanga a luatoi o Mount Wellington. E maua lava noa te anga I ma iaima au mailo a inga I le whalawhatal pasi le na o Tahuhu la stoffi le vayasa le nei. Te tala le tula a whalwalu a whale lima e le ai se booking e mana o mia. No bookings required. Mai o na wha moe moe o lo tu whatasia fu e au nanga wha Pasifika. Tato se e mai lea I mangele I oe. The capital of South Auckland o le a whaile tato wha moe moe na ua taua o le free shot on us uso. I oe, o le wha moe moe lea. O lo tu whatasia e tu pulanga matala vau o le tato wa tnuu ia istasio e kalesia a Katoliko, St. Therese Catholic Parish nei mangele le o lo tu whatasia le wha moe moe lea. O le a iei le pasi, it's called Pasifika, o le pasi lea. E te anga I to tonu e whailo tui pui pui, ma e toe anga I mai whafu. Ia o na manita lele e lele oe fuinale for about 10-15 minutes before you leave the site. O le stofi fo ila nei e wha moe moe lea. Te tanana le tu lai whai le tai au. Sa ia pa ia lavale, sorry, e tu lai sa full maltasi. It opens from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. Ia I St. Therese Parish, number 10 Wickman Way, I Mangry. O le tatou wharsā lea le malumalu popa e Kalesia Katoliko lea. Awhasanga I tonu lava mai fo I Suffering Cross campus. Ia, e te le e, ke ufo uia pea e le maua I lunga Wickman Way. E tau loa Wickman Way, mangele loa. Have you heard of Wickman Way Bakery? Ia ngā konga wa e maua le address Ioe, ia tatou wha moe moe na I le stofi. O leisia tatou wha moe moe, ia, le ala tatou wanga I o East Auckland, ia Tamaki. Io talo fai ma malo male pa il tato watu no hi Tamaki hi East Auckland wa mai o ko ya inga ya Glen Ennis or Point England or St. Heliers lang o ko ngai but anyway calling all Pacific families in Tamaki give Delta the jab. Oh man kusalenga run over the bus ia foi St. Therese Parish ia le COVID-19 with the bus. Lela fai mai ia Tamaki. E maka kia fai Tamaki malako I vin fai mai give Delta the jab. Ia tato I vin lea e fai lea I le asosa the 17th of October. So on Sunday opens at 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the address is 35 Point England Road, Tamaki Pacific Islanders Presbyterian Church, PIPC, ia o le a whaile wha moe moe lea I nai le wharesa o le PIPC I ngai whia fo I point I Tamaki. A wane I ngalo, ia tato woi o pongi, ia nei wha moe moe, ia wā lava ia le pui pui ngā oi mai le wha mai o le COVID-19. Lastly, o le tatu wha moe moe le I o Tara, e tau o le rally o village, le olo wha tamo ina lava e South Seas Healthcare, I le ka paka le masane no whai ia le fo ia le flea market ki. Ia o lea lai whatau no I fo ina I le tatu wha moe moe lea. Tala ia le rally o village by South Seas Healthcare mai le tūle awhalawalu, ia I le awhalawha, oi awhalilima I le awhiawhi. O le tele ia o avanoa, ia ma events o lo whapena, o ngā solo I tui pui pui, o lono winga, ia, e ta tau o na o atu, say the end of this month. Well, 90%, I really want to go down to level 1 because I want to take my family out for Christmas. I want to spend time with my extended families. But you and I have a part to play in order for us to go down to level 1. Seki? Okay, Seki. Yeah, on this now to update more the COVID-19 e whawhitai te le lava Samoa. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for joining us on Pacific Health Talanoa. Thank you to my Blue TV team, also the Pacific Business Hub, and all our sponsors. Thank you for bringing this great service and this great au'aunanga to our people. We really appreciate Blue TV and Blue Wave. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I will see you tomorrow.